In 2017, a corporate lawyer in New York started drinking 1 glass of whiskey every night after work. He called it stress relief. 3 years later, he couldn't sleep without alcohol, and he still didn't think he was addicted. Most addicted people don't realize they're addicted. Because addiction rarely begins with destruction. It begins with comfort. We live in an age where self-destruction is often disguised as self-care. The extra glass of wine after a long meeting. The 3-hour scroll through your phone at midnight. The cigarette you tell yourself you'll quit next Monday. The gaming session that turns a bad afternoon into a sleepless night. The constant need for someone, anyone, to like your post, validate your thought, confirm that you exist. None of these feel like addiction in the beginning. They feel like relief. And that is exactly why millions of people are quietly losing control of their behavior right now, while looking their family, their coworkers, and themselves in the eye and saying, "I'm fine. I can stop whenever I want." The most dangerous part of addiction isn't the substance. It isn't the behavior. It's the silence inside the mind of someone who genuinely believes they are still in control, while the habit grows a little stronger every single day. It is the voice that says, "This is just who I am. This is just how I cope. Everyone does this. I am not like those people." That voice is the architecture of denial, and it is more powerful, more persuasive, and more deeply embedded in human psychology than most of us ever want to acknowledge. Today, we go inside that silence. To understand how someone can be addicted without knowing it, you first have to understand what addiction actually is, and more importantly, what it is not. Most people picture addiction as a man in an alley, a needle, rock bottom, something dramatic and visible and easy to name. But neuroscience tells a very different story. Addiction, at its biological core, is the hijacking of the brain's dopamine reward system. Dopamine is a neurotransmitter, a chemical messenger, responsible for feelings of pleasure, motivation, and satisfaction. Every time your brain experiences something that feels good, dopamine is released, and your brain remembers what caused it. This system was designed for survival. Eating food, building relationships, completing tasks. These release dopamine as a reward, encouraging your brain to repeat them. But here is where it gets dangerous. Certain substances and behaviors produce dopamine surges far larger than anything nature intended. Alcohol, nicotine, social media likes, gambling, and even intense work can all flood the brain's reward circuits in ways that feel extraordinary. And because they feel extraordinary, the brain wants them again. And again. And again. Over time, the brain begins to adjust. It reduces its natural dopamine sensitivity to compensate for the artificial floods. Neuroscientists call this process downregulation. The receptors that once responded powerfully to natural pleasure become blunted, less responsive, almost indifferent. This means ordinary life, meals, conversations, rest, laughter, starts to feel flat, empty, unsatisfying. Color drains from experience. The only thing that brings the brain back to what feels like normal is the substance or behavior it has become dependent on. And here is the cruelest part of this process. It happens gradually, almost invisibly. So gradually that the person experiencing it rarely notices the change until the dependency is already deeply embedded. If this is hitting close, I wrote a book called The Big Liquor Life, where I break these exact mental chains step by step in a real, practical way. If you're serious about changing your habits, check it out, link in the description. This is the psychology of not knowing you are addicted. Your brain adapts so quietly that by the time you notice something is wrong, your mind has already built an entire architecture of justification around the behavior. You don't see a problem. You see a routine. You see a preference. You see who you are. Think about the person who checks their phone before they have opened their eyes in the morning. before a single word to their partner, before their feet hit the floor. They don't call it addiction, they call it habit. Think about the professional who works 14-hour days, skips meals, misses birthdays, and calls it ambition. Their family has given up asking when they'll be home. But they're not addicted to work, they're dedicated. That's what they tell themselves. Think about the teenager who starts the day with a cigarette, because without it, concentration is impossible. They'll quit, eventually, just not today. Maybe you've told yourself the same thing. Maybe you have a habit right now that you've never examined too closely, because examining it would mean acknowledging something you're not ready to face. This is the psychological mechanism known as denial. And in the context of addiction, denial isn't simply lying to others. It is the brain's genuine inability to accurately assess its own dependency. The subconscious mind, deeply invested in maintaining the behavior that relieves its discomfort, actively suppresses the parts of the conscious mind that might raise concern. It rewrites the story. It smooths the edges. It makes the uncomfortable comfortable enough to live inside. Research consistently shows that the prefrontal cortex, the brain region responsible for judgment, self-awareness, and long-term decision-making, becomes impaired in states of dependency. This isn't moral failure. It is neurological fact. The very part of your brain you would use to recognize a problem is the part the addiction damages first. This is why the addict always sounds so convinced. This is why people argue so passionately that they are fine. Their brain is not showing them the complete picture. It never does. And society makes this worse, because many of the most destructive addictions in the modern world are not only accepted, they are celebrated. Productivity addiction is called hustle. Alcohol dependency is called winding down. Compulsive scrolling is called staying informed. Approval addiction is called being social. The language of normalcy wraps around the behavior, and the person inside it feels no reason to question anything at all. The scariest addictions are the ones society calls normal. Consider this. Studies from addiction research institutions show that a significant portion of people who meet the clinical criteria for alcohol use disorder do not identify as having a drinking problem. Their consumption has already reshaped their brain chemistry, their sleep architecture, their emotional regulation, and their social behavior, and they remain completely unaware because everyone around them drinks the same way. This is the ecosystem of invisible addiction. It doesn't require shame or disgrace. It doesn't require losing a job or a family. It requires only one thing, a habit that feels more necessary every week, hiding inside a lifestyle that looks entirely ordinary from the outside. No alarm goes off. No line gets crossed. The behavior simply becomes load-bearing, quietly, invisibly essential to the person's sense of equilibrium. The corporate lawyer in New York wasn't unusual. He was surrounded by colleagues who did the same thing. His drinking was normal in his social world, which meant his brain had no external mirror to reflect the truth back to him. The warning signals that might have reached him were drowned out by the sound of everyone else pouring the same glass. This is how addiction sustains itself across generations. This is how it moves through families, cultures, and communities without ever being named. The person caught inside it doesn't feel like they are losing control. They feel like they are coping, and in the short term, they are right. That is the deepest and most frightening truth about this psychology. The coping works. For a while. In the time between when it stops working and when the person realizes it stopped working, that gap is where the damage happens. Quietly, completely, often irreversibly. So what does awareness look like when the brain is actively working against it? It starts not with a dramatic realization, but with a single, honest question. Not, am I addicted? But, what would happen if I stopped? That question, asked with genuine and unflinching honesty, is the first crack in the wall of denial. Because the addicted mind never asks it. The addicted mind already knows the answer. and builds its entire reasoning around never having to hear it out loud. The people who break free from hidden dependency share one common experience: a moment of unguarded self-honesty. Not a rock bottom, not a catastrophe, not an intervention staged in a living room while everyone cries. Just a quiet, clear moment when they stopped defending the behavior and started simply looking at it, the way you might look at a stranger, without investment, without the need to protect anything. That moment is available to everyone, but it requires something increasingly rare in a world designed to keep you distracted, stimulated, and numb: stillness. Honest, uncomfortable stillness. The kind that doesn't reach for the phone, the kind that doesn't turn on the television, the kind that simply sits with what is, even when what is feels like too much to hold. Because addiction does not survive stillness. It survives noise. It survives busyness. It survives the next notification, the next drink, the next task, the next distraction, the next hit of whatever keeps the discomfort at a safe and comfortable distance. Remove the noise, even for a single hour, for a single morning, and the truth tends to surface on its own. The lawyer eventually did stop, not because he hit bottom, because one morning he sat in silence and noticed that the first thought in his mind was not about his family, not about his work, not about the day ahead. It was about when he could have his next drink. That was the moment. That single, quiet observation. Some people never get that moment. They spend decades inside a comfortable dependency, surrounded by people who share it, convinced they are living freely, while the habit quietly narrows the life available to them. That is the real cost of not knowing. Not destruction, not drama, not the visible wreckage that makes it into movies and cautionary tales. Just a smaller life, lived inside an invisible cage. One that feels like home because the person built it themselves. One comfortable choice at a time, over years they will never get back. Some people are not addicted to substances. They are addicted to escaping themselves. And the most dangerous addiction in the world is the one you never had to name, because it never looked like a problem from where you were standing. The addiction that never gets treated is the one that never gets seen. If this made you think, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Awareness is the beginning of everything.